Welcome to the BettingPros PGA Podcast. I'm Pat Fitzmaurice here with Bo McBrayer, king of the Longshots. Today we're going to preview the Valero Texas Open from a betting perspective. We will also recap the Houston Open, and at the end of the show we will give you our one and done picks for the week. The BettingPros PGA Podcast is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the place to go for fantasy football best ball contests, but you might not have known that Underdog also has golf contests. Sign up for Underdog if you haven't already with the promo code BPGolf to get your first deposit matched up to $100. Plus, there's a special pick available for you in the lobby. More on Underdog and its golf contest a little later. Scottie Scheffler played a tournament and did not win, Bo, but he came really, really close. Stephen Jaeger survived an action-packed Sunday at the Houston Open. He finished 12 under to win by one shot over Scheffler, Thomas Dietrich, Taylor Moore, Tony Finau, and Bo McBrayer sleeper pick extraordinaire Alejandro Tosti. Jaeger shot 4 rounds in the 60s and had a final round 67. That was good enough, but Jaeger did not exactly grab the tournament by the lapels on Sunday. Shot a 3 under par 32 on the front side, but then Jaeger merely parred out on the back nine. 9 straight pars. That proved to be just enough. Scheffler seemed poised to win this thing after firing a 66 on Saturday, but he made a costly bogey on the par 3 16th going down the stretch on Sunday. 16 was a nightmare hole for Scheffler. Double bogeyed on Saturday when his approach shot spun back off the green into the water. And so then Scheffler birdies 17, a par 5, to keep himself alive on Sunday. Hits his approach shot to 6 feet and just missed the putt that would have forced the playoff. Left it low side on the left. And there was. Stephen Jaeger got his first PGA Tour win. The tournament was really there for the taking for a lot of these guys, Bo. Not only Scheffler, but Tony Finau shot a 62 on Friday and held the lead at 9 under par going into the weekend. But Finau shot a 2 over par 72 on Saturday. Had to play catch-up Sunday. Birdied his last 2 holes, but it was too little too late. Alejandro Tosti, oh man, so close. The little powder keg from Argentina went off at 400-1. To win the tournament. Bo, you touted him as a compelling long shot on last week's show. Compelling indeed. Right there for him. He had 4 straight rounds of 68 or better, and after a birdie on number 16 on Sunday, he was tied for the lead. Tosti is only 5'6", but he is a big hitter. I thought he had a chance to drive the green on 17. 329-yard par 4, but Tosti hung his drive out to the left, had to pitch on, 2-putted for par, and then on 18, missed the green with his approach shot, didn't get his chip very close to about 18 feet, missed the putt, and the dream was dead. Bo, at the Valspar Championship, you recommended Kevin Roy, who was 500-1 to win, and Roy contended all the way into Sunday. This past week, you came up with Alejandro Tosti at 400-1 and darn near won it. I know you still made some money on him anyway. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about Jaeger's first win, Scottie Scheffler's near miss, anything that struck you from the Houston Open.
Yeah, a lot of it's luck. I mean, we have all these great golfers, especially Scottie Scheffler down the stretch. I fully expected him to make that 5-footer on 18 to force the playoff with Jaeger. But then again, I also expected Tosti to get up and down for a par on 18 to force the playoff with Jaeger. I was under the impression with a couple holes left to play that we were going to have a 3-man playoff with Jaeger, Tosti, and Scheffler, and it ended up that Jaeger's par fest on the back nine turned out to be just good enough to avoid all of that hoopla, and it broke my heart because I had a lot of tickets. I know a lot of you all that watch the show and listen to our stuff and read our stuff were on Tosti with me. I know you tailed me, Pat. It was just a heartbreaking moment when he couldn't get up and down on 18. That chip shot was terrible. And when he hit it 18 feet past, I was like, there's no way he's making that to keep the dream alive. But we will rebuild. We will check out the whole board here for the next tournament, and it's a lot of luck, but it's also just finding guys that are just too good for the course compared to their odds. That's what this whole show is about. It's not about playing necessarily the best plays in a vacuum. You have to consider what their number is and maybe just how they fit the golf course and how they're playing right now. This is a lot of it comes down to just how well they're playing, how well they're feeling. We can glean recent data to point us in the right direction. So let's do it again. Let's go 3 weeks in a row. Let's carry it right into Augusta, and let's hit one this time.
Yeah, even though Toasty couldn't seal the deal, you got some love from some of our viewers who shouted you out for the close one and encouraged you to keep digging up those gems, those hidden gems, because there were definitely some people who tailed you on that one, and it was so painful to come that close and have it slip through our fingers. So we will get to the Valero Texas Open in just a minute. But first, our friends at Underdog Fantasy are letting you make picks on your favorite golfers all season long. Just pick higher or lower on selected stats for 2 to 5 golfers, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single day. You can also make rivals picks, choosing, for example, which of 2 golfers will shoot a better score in a round. Golf picks can be combined with player stats from other sports too. Go sign up at Underdog Fantasy with the promo code BPGolf to get your first deposit matched up to $100. Plus, there's a special pick available for you in the lobby. Just one more event before the Masters, Bo, and the final tune-up is the Valero Texas Open, which will be played at TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course. It's a Greg Norman design, par 72, 7,438 yards. The fairways are narrow, but the rough at the Oaks course is not very penal at all, so you're probably going to be okay if you miss the fairway and end up in the intermediate cut. But you're probably not going to be okay if you miss big off the tee because there are trees. It's called the Oaks course for a reason, after all. There's some heavy underbrush in spots. You can ask Kevin Na about that. Kevin Na famously made a 16 on the 9th hole at the Oaks course a few years ago when he put his drive into some dense underbrush, a thicket, if you will. And there are lots of bunkers, 72 of them on the course, I believe. And there's wind. This is Texas, after all. Although the wind might not be that bad this week, they're expecting winds in the 5 to 10 mile per hour range for Thursday and Sunday, winds in the 10 to 20 mile an hour range Friday and Saturday. So breezy at times, but not insanely windy. This course does tend to be extremely firm, and the greens can be hard to hold. The greens and regulation percentage at TPC San Antonio is under 60%. Not a long course, but precise ball striking is definitely a requirement. Just look at who the defending champion is. It's Corey Connors, a terrific ball striker, not such a great putter. Opened with a 64 last year and then did just enough in his next 3 rounds to win by a stroke over Sam Stevens with a winning score of -15. Connors also won here in 2019. Other recent winners, J.J. Spawn won here in 2022 with a score of 13 under par, 2 shots better than Matt Kuchar and Matt Jones. Dallas native Jordan Spieth won here in 2021, posting a score of -18, 2 strokes better than Charlie Hoffman, who won here in 2016. And let's see, what else? No tournament in 2020 because of COVID. Corey Connors won in 2019. Andrew Landry won in 2018. Kevin Chappell in 2017. But what are you looking for when you're trying to find betting value at TPC San Antonio?
Right off the bat, I'm noticing some first-timers that have entered the fray. We have Colin Morikawa's in this field now for the first time. Because of the way the schedule kind of got shuffled about this year, the Masters field isn't necessarily taking this week off. Scotty Scheffler's not here. A couple of the top guys aren't here, but there's plenty of guys that are here that are going to change the way we think about this tournament, which is typically you got your guys trying to get FedEx Cup points before the Masters instead of just tuning up for the Masters if they're in that field. We have a good number of guys who are at the top of this board who are using this as a tune-up, and it is a pretty decent one. Although the course is pretty bland by tour standards. It's kind of on the longer side, top 10 in distance. But it's a challenge for the guys who haven't been chipping well. Because if you have guys who've struggled with short game or struggle with windy conditions, I have a feeling that they're going to struggle here. Corey Connors overcame in a horrendous short game last year. His short game's not any better. It's probably a lot worse this year than it was last year. But he overcame that with how good his ball striking was. And a lot of the times you can get away with that if you're coming in hot. And so some of these guys, they're just a little bit inflated as far as betting odds go, because I don't imagine some of these favorites even coming close to winning this tournament because of the condition of their short game, which is going to be put on very strong emphasis this week. It's going to be approach and around the green, very heavy. Off the tee, not like you said, the rough isn't that penal, so as long as you're not crazy wayward under the oaks and in the acorns with the chipmunks, you'll be fine. As long as you have an angle to the green, it's going to be approach and around the green and making birdies where they are present. Avoiding the big number is obviously important, but some of these guys are overinflated and some of these guys are getting no respect at all from the betting odds. So those are the ones we're attacking.
Yeah, we'll get to those odds in just 1 minute. But first, if you want a chance to win a free 1-year premium Betting Pros subscription, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now. Comment below on this video, and that's it. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel. So turn on those notifications to be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. All right, Bo, let's look at the odds. I feel like we should start with the long shots just because I'm so anxious to see what you're going to unearth this week, but we will adhere to tradition and start with the favorites. No Scheffler this week, so Rory McIlroy opens with the shortest odds in the field at plus 800. Ludvig Aberg, plus 1,100. Jordan Spieth, Hideki Matsuyama, and Max Homa are plus 1,800. The aforementioned Colin Morikawa is plus 2,000. Corey Connors plus 2,200. Matthew Fitzpatrick plus 2,500. Tommy Fleetwood plus 2,800. And Alex Noren plus 3,000. Do you like anyone from this group, Bo?
Well, right off the bat, I run my first model this afternoon, and Ludvig Aberg and Rory McIlroy are 1 and 2, just like in the odds. There's just flip-flops. So looking at Aberg there, for number 1 in my model, Rory being shorter odds doesn't appeal to me that much because 8 to 9 to 1, that's okay. If you feel great about Rory, his strength is not short game. It's not bad, but it's also not great. Aberg has been so good around the greens this year, and his approach game has been improving markedly the last couple events that he's appeared at. This guy scores like crazy. He's a birdie-making machine, and he's actually 5th best in this field at avoiding bogeys, which is going to come in play. I like all the things about Ludvig Aberg this week, especially at 12 to 1 versus Rory. And then going in right number 3 in my model is Colin Morikawa at 25 to 1. His ball striking is outstanding. He's your rich man's Corey Connors, and it's his first appearance as TPC San Antonio. I have a feeling he's going to make a lot of noise this week.
Yeah, Morikawa 0 top 10s in 5 starts this year.
He's
so you
due.
Feel like he's due.
He's so due.
Yeah, and maybe it's this week. Aberg, also a first-timer, I believe, right?
Yep.
He has not played this before. But, man, top 25 in 5 consecutive tournaments for Aberg with 3 top 10s during that stretch. It's just hard to justify that price on Rory.
It is, yeah. And that conversely, Morikawa is underpriced at 25 to 1, and he's a guy that his short game isn't his strength either. But it comes down to I would probably go under 20 to 1 for Morikawa, where I wouldn't necessarily go any shorter for McIlroy. We have a little bit more wiggle room with Morikawa's line here at 25 to 1 currently. I could see that get a little shorter, and I would still be interested with how overdue he is, with how talented he is. This is a disrespectful number for Morikawa and a legacy number for McIlroy.
It is. Yeah, the legacy number for sure. 5 events he's played in the last 10 weeks. Hasn't finished better than 19th in any of them. What about Jordan Spieth, the Dallas native, won here in 2021, second here in 2015. Local guy, not great form lately, though.
Yeah, he's struggling right now, and where he is very strong in the short game, one of the best short game players on planet Earth. He is 118th in this field in strokes gained on approach, which is a very heavily weighted metric. His approach game's been awful, and that's been a strength of his in years past. I'm surprised to see ball striking metrics so bad for Spieth this year. His short game has kind of held him together near the top of the leaderboard every once in a while, but here it's just too good of a field. I know it's local, but that local flair and the win all those years ago has got his number way inflated at 20-1. I like him, but I don't love him. I'm not going to bet him outright here. He just needs to pull it back together with the ball striking, especially on approach. That's a terrible number. And it scares me off, honestly.
Let me run through three more of the guys from this group, and you can tell me if any of them are the least bit tempting to you. Hideki Matsuyama, here's where he has finished in his last three events. 1st, 12th, 6th.
Mm-hmm.
No top 10s in 3 prior trips to the Valero, but he was 15th here last year, which isn't too bad. Corey Connors, 2 wins here. We know his ball striking is well above average, and in his 2 most recent events, he finished 18th at the Arnold Palmer Invitational and 13th at the Players' Championship. And Bo, my guy, Alex Noren, over the last month, he's finished 9th at the Cognizant Classic, 19th at the Players' Championship, and 11th last week in Houston. He finished 15th here in his debut last year. But he and Hideki can't have both finished 15th, so I'm getting one of those wrong.
Unless they tied.
Don't have that here in front of me. Oh yeah, it could have been a T15. Must have been. So any of those guys, Noren, Hideki, or Corey Connors.
They all rate out really well here. Obviously, Connors is the crown jewel with 2 trophies here. Connors comes in number 1 in ball striking, dead last in short game, so he's kind of a paradox at this event. We don't know quite how he does it, but 25-1 is just too steep for me with him. He's playing terribly this year. I like both Hideki and Noren here. I'm more on Hideki in the betting markets, where Noren hasn't won anything ever, so I'm more interested in the DFS side for Noren. But they're right up in the top 10 in my model on both of those. I like Hideki a little bit better. Even at 20-1, it's a fair number, and I know I can get a good, decent line on his top 10 finish. I think he's going to finally crack through and get a top 10 with how well he's been playing this year.
Let's look at the mid-range options. Harris English, Brian Harman, and Billy Horschel are plus 3,500. Adam Scott's plus 4,000. Christian Bezuidenhout plus 4,500. Eric Cole and Akshay Bhatia are plus 5,000. Keith Mitchell and Tom Kim are plus 5,500. And we have a big group at plus 6,000. Nikolai Højgaard, Bo Hostler, Ricky Fowler, Aaron Rye, and Maverick McNeely. Any value here, Bo?
You got to be careful in this range. There's a lot of good names here that rate out well. Christian Bezuidenhout is one of them. He's 9th in my model. Very, very good short game player. Very accurate player, which is going to come into play here. His approach is not his strong suit, or actually it is 7th in this field. So overall, I think that Bez is due for a good showing here. But I'm a little bit more interested in the comeback story for Tom Kim and the continued hot streak for Akshay Bhatia. Those 2 guys are just more talented than Christian Bezuidenhout. So I'm gonna be in on Tom Kim because he only missed his last event with a fever, and I have a feeling that his game fits this course really well. He's got an outstanding short game, and if it gets windy, we just saw him contend at the Open Championship and the Scottish Open. He's got the wind game down pat. Akshay Bhatia is one of the best wedge players in the world, so on approach on some of these holes, he's going to be sticking it closer than the rest of the field. Those 2 guys are on my radar at 50 and 55-1 respectively. Those 2 guys stand out big time for me.
Brian Harman hasn't played this event since 2019. Hasn't really had much success here, but he's been in pretty good form over the last month. Precision ball striking is kind of his thing. I'm sort of interested in him. Billy Horschel hasn't played the Valero since 2019 either, but he finished third here in 2015, fourth in 2016, 11th in 2018. He's finished top 12 in 3 of his last 4 events, and he just shot a 64 Sunday at the Houston Open to finish in a tie for 7th. He's kind of interesting. And Keith Mitchell, how does he do in your model, Bo? Because it seems like he pops in a lot of the Valero Texas Open models. I've seen people touting on Twitter. He's had 2 top 10s and 5 top 20s this season, and he finished 17th in his last appearance here in 2021.
I'll skip Kashmir Keith this week. He has one of the worst short games on the planet. As good as he is off the tee, it's not going to play here. He's a really good approach player, and that's what's going to keep him in contention here if he is so fortunate to be there. Brian Harman actually rates out extremely poorly here for me, just because of the approach distances, and his short game's been kind of off this year. He comes in at 38th down the board. Short game's okay for him. Okay, not by his standards, not good. What I'm looking at is kind of skipping down farther down the board here, because there's a lot of great values farther down. Erik van Rooyen at 80-1 rings a bell for me. There's no water on this course, so Van Rooyen's in play. It's funny because there's 72 bunkers, but Van Rooyen's got a great short game, and he's been playing great this year. He has changed my mind on him. I was completely off EVR last year. Didn't want to play him at all because he burned me every time. I'm back on with EVR because he's playing great. And all the rest of my picks are going to be way farther down the board in deep shot territory.
Well, for you to say that Keith Mitchell has one of the worst short games on the planet just means that you've never played golf with me, Bo. We got to remedy that. But you might.
I meant among tour professionals, but yeah, you're probably right. His short game is probably quite a bit better than yours and mine.
Now, so let's do it. Let's enter the Bo McBrayer zone, the long shots. That technically includes anyone with odds of 65-1 or longer, Bo, but I'm looking for you to give me a hidden gem who's going off at like 200-1 or longer.
Yeah. I won't disappoint you. Doug Gim is on a heater this year. He's coming at 90-1. I love him. Bud Cauley, I'll keep riding that train. Doing top 20 bets on Bud Cauley's paying right now. He's 100-1 outright. And I'm going to keep going down. We're going to go deep here. Charlie Hoffman, this is his event. This guy has 2 runner-ups and a win here. He's played great this year in the spot starts that he's made. He's going off at 130-1. Chan Kim, 250-1 is a fun one. Chan Kim's playing great golf this year. Just a little secret, he's not just a deep shot, he's a deep shot that's got hot form coming in. Same with Hayden Springer at 300-1, who's a dark horse for PGA Tour Rookie of the Year. If something happens to our guy Jake Knapp, Hayden Springer is going to be one of these guys I'm watching out for this summer. And I had to go super deep. You're going to love this one. The Belgian Adrien Dumont du Chassat, 600-1. ADDC is what they call him. Adrien Dumont du Chassat, 600-1 is my deep spiciest of all spicy deep shots. I'll take some made cut bets. I'll take a top 40 and I'll throw a couple on top 20. Throw a buck or two on his 600-1 outright. I don't think he'll win, but that's a name to look out for.
ADDC. All right. I like it. Charlie Hoffman, I have to play him. You know, like 2-time runner up here, past winner here.
They call it the Valero Hoffman Open.
Pretty much. Yeah. He has done so well at this tournament in the past. And I know he's missed 3 straight cuts, but he did nearly win the Phoenix Open a couple of months ago.
Horses for courses.
What about the Kuchar conundrum, Bo? 2020 form has been awful, which is why he's 110-1. But his track record at the Valero Texas Open is excellent. He was 3rd here last year, 2nd in 2022, 12th in 2021, 7th in 2019.
Yeah, it's just been so bad this year. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but it was a precipitous downfall. And when I'm looking at Kuchar, I'm scrolling all the way down to the bottom of this list, and he is nowhere to be found. until you get to the very basement of my stats. So I'm afraid Kuchar might be washed, and that's a sad thing to say for such a promising player. For so many years, he was our steady pick, but this guy is not ball striking well at all. He's near the bottom in ball striking on approach, and what used to be a world-class short game is only in middle of the pack this year. He needs a better short game to contend here, even just to make the cut here. He's got to play better than he has all season to make the cut here. Sorry, but Matt Kuchar is out.
I'm going to mention a couple of more guys who are sort of interesting, not deep long shots like ADDC, Bo, but Ryan Moore, 90-1, finished 7th here in 2018, 3rd in 2019, and his form's been pretty good lately, including a 5th place finish at Valspar 2 weeks ago. And KH Lee, 100-1. He's had 2 top 10s in his last 4 events, and that included a 4th at the Cognizant Classic. He's played this event 3 times and has a pair of top 25s, including a 14th in his Valero debut in 2019. So, all right, Bo, what do you have on your betting card so far?
I have Ludvig Aberg at 20, Morikawa at 25, Tom Kim at 50 with a top 10 kicker, Akshay Bhatia 55 with a top 10 kicker, and I'm going quarter unit bets outright on Hoffman, Chan Kim, Hayden Springer, and ADDC, all with some top 20s or made cut bets sprinkled in, because what's been keeping us alive, other than a nice hit on Jake Knapp earlier in the season, has been our placement bets, where we're right about the golfer doing well. Maybe it didn't come all the way through for the gigantic payoff, but we're making good money on these placement bets, and so I'm going to keep doing that. Top 20 bets have just been paying like a fountain of cash all season, so let's keep it rolling.
I've got to tell you on ADDC and Chan Kim, of course. Like, I'm not going to stop backing you on these long shots now. I'm also betting Jordan Spieth each way. Like, I think he's going to get it together for the Masters. This is his time of year.
It has to be.
Yeah, so he's plus 1,800. I'm betting Billy Horschel at plus 3,500. The course history, and like, he's starting to get it together. Betting Ryan Moore at 90-1, KH Lee at 100-1, and Hollywood Hoffman at 130-1, and a top 20 on Hollywood at plus 450. So let's get to the one and done picks, Bo. You had Wyndham Clark last week. He finished tied for 31st, good for 54,418. I had Sahith Theegala. He finished in a tie for 28th, good for $65,065. I made up almost $11,000 on you, Bo. You're at about 4.4 million. I'm at about 1.3 million. I'm still more than 3 million down, but if I can keep chipping away at you like I did last week, by my estimate, I will catch you sometime in early 2031. So
That's good math.
I'm up first this week. I'm going to take Alex Noren. Good form. Finished 15th here last year, and Alex Noren has not qualified for the Masters yet. That could be a big motivator for him. I'm hoping Noren is going to be dialed in this week.
You do know why he hasn't qualified for the Masters yet, right?
What's that?
Because he's never won anything.
Good point. It's the one and done, Bo. I don't need to win this. I just need to.
I'm not knocking the pick. I will have a good amount of him in DFS because he does fit well here. So I won't knock you. I'm going to go with our guy, Hideki Matsuyama. I have a good feeling about his form this year, and he does fit this course. As well as he's modeled for me, I might as well use him here.
And that is going to do it for this week's show. I want to thank our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Sign up for Underdog with the promo code BPGolf to get your first deposit match up to $100, plus a special pick available for you in the lobby. And please come join Bo and I next week for a very special show. We will be previewing the first major of the year, the greatest golf tournament in the world, played on the greatest golf course on the planet. We'll be previewing the Masters at Augusta National. I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome field and an awesome spectacle, as always. So we'll see you next week for the Masters preview. Until then, so long, everyone.